Dr. Nepute, thank you again for jumping on here. You guys, this man right here, if you've ever met somebody who absolutely loves learning, who loves to figure things out, and as he calls it, totally geeking out on stuff, like this is the man. If there's something to be figured out, he will figure it out. So what I'm going to do, you guys, is I'm going to let him just loose on you and tell you about kind of what he does and who he is, because you guys are meeting him for the first time. Maybe you've probably seen some of his Facebook videos that have gone viral all over the place. He has some incredible information on so many different levels. And so, Dr. Nepute, tell these people what you do, where you come from, and why you are here with us now.
Well, first of all, I'm humbled by that introduction. And the best thing I can say is I'm just here to help people. That's what God put me on this planet to do. It just so happens that he gave me a really unique brain, if you will, when it comes to health and wellness, and also gave me man, how do I say this politely? Gave me some tenacity that I just, I love figuring stuff out. So like you said, my background is pretty diverse. My story started out, gosh, I've always been interested in the human body. I always wanted to be a doctor of some kind. Really was going to school. I wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon. I was already accepted in Northwestern Medical School. I was playing Division I football in my senior year. I had an injury in my neck, and boy, my friends who were the team surgeons said, "There's nothing we can do to help you. It's not really in the cards for you to be playing sports again. You'll be lucky to move your arm, and well, good luck." And so that was pretty scary, right? 21 years old, everything I knew was torn away from me. So one of my friend's fathers is a chiropractor, and you got to understand, I come from a small town. I mean, there was more pigs than people in the town that I grew up in, and that's for real, by the way. And so when my buddy's dad called me and said I could help you, I thought, what is this guy? I knew him because he was my baseball coach when I was a little kid playing Pee Wee baseball. But he's a chiropractor. I was told these chiropractors aren't real doctors, and I'm going to medical school and all this stuff. Well, let me tell you something. After 3 visits, I could move my arm again. And after a week, I'm back in the gym, bench pressing 350 pounds again. I can't do that anymore. But when I was 21, I got back into it. And my parents really did a great job raising me, and made me realize that, God puts challenges in your life. They're tests so that they can be a testimonial. And I remember the day like it was yesterday when I told my mom and dad that I'm not going to go to Northwestern Medical School to be a surgeon, and I'm going to go to chiropractic school and check that out. And my parents didn't talk to me for several months. I mean, they almost disowned me because they're like, what are you going to do? You were supposed to be a real doctor and help people and da-da-da-da-da. And that was really discouraging and disappointing. But I tell you what, how do I say this politely? 20 years later, now have some of the largest practices on the planet. Now I'm part owner of, I'm in hospital systems. I own laboratories. I went back to school to get more education, and I have advanced degree in nutrition. I'm a doctor of natural medicine as well. I have a fellowship in neurology. I have a specialization in internal health. I get over 25 hours of nutritional training. I mean, I'm kind of a nerd. I'm a big geek is what I am. I'm just a big geek that loves to help
That's
people.
What I meant, you guys, by he has so many commas after his name. Now you understand why I said that. We're going to call you comma.
I met with a guy today that says, you have more degrees than a thermometer. I said, well, I'm just kind of a nerd. So I love to learn. I'm still learning. So I got into healthcare to help people, right? And chiropractic was great. It saved my life, but it didn't answer enough questions. So I went back to school to get more training in neurology and more training in internal health so I can understand how the body really works from the inside out. And I always knew that nutrition was the answer to help people, but I didn't know enough about it. So I went back to school and learned more and more. And you got to remember, most doctors have about 10 to 15 hours of nutritional training. I'm now well past 2,500. So I just, not to impress anybody, but to impress upon you that that's just what I do. And so my main practices are in St. Louis, Missouri. I've got 12 practices of my own now. At one time I had 30 of my own. I still have my systems in about 35 practices across the country. I teach doctors how to help people get healthy, and I teach people how to stay healthy. And, God's really shined a pathway in my life, Laura, this whole way, taking me out of the medical route, getting me into chiropractic. And then, I go to school, I come out, I'm doing really well. My wife and I have been together since we were in the 7th grade. So we've been together for a minute. Right. And, I remember like it was yesterday, it was about 15 years ago, my wife got really sick We couldn't figure out what was going on with her. And all the great doctors that I knew and all the people that helped me along the way to figure out how to get sick people well, I got the pleasure of studying with some of the best doctors on the planet, and we couldn't figure out what was wrong with her. And so, basically come down to she had parasites and her gut was bad and all this other stuff. So that what led me into the next path of going down, understanding how the GI tract works and understanding how internal health works. And so, everything that has been a test in my life really has become a testimonial. And it just so happens that God's plan for me has always been about, how do I get sick people well? How do I inspire, motivate? How do I let people know what's possible? Because that's really what I'm all about. Like, at the end of the day, my job as a doctor is Latin for teacher. We're supposed to teach, reach, and inspire as many people as we can. So that's what I strive to do every day. And I still spend at least 2 to 3 hours every day studying. I still take care of patients every day. And I don't know, that's kind of me in a nutshell. So I'm just here to help. I'm happy to serve. And I got to be honest with you, I'm so excited to be plugged in to this group, because I'm just going to let a little cat out of the bag here. Yeah. You had something that I was looking for. Now, my background in health is really helping people understand what health is. Most people don't know what health is. And so when I talk about health, health is a balance of 3 things. It's physical health, it's chemical health, and it's neuro-emotional health. And I'm telling you, I'm really good at all 3 of those, but I was missing a key component to it. And that key component was a nutrient blend that I was looking for that could help stimulate the brain-gut connection, help me deal with something called the vagus nerve, which, by the way, the cover of Scientific America, the Journal of Scientific America in 2016 had an article that said scientific electrical cures. Science found the cure for cancer, heart disease, diabetes, stroke, depression, insomnia, anxiety, Parkinson's, dementia, and much, much more. And it was all about stimulation of this nerve called the vagus nerve. Well, I knew how to stimulate it from a structural and a neurological standpoint, but I couldn't get products that I needed to stimulate it from a chemical standpoint. Well, and then here comes God again. God says, well, I want you to meet these people. And I'm like, I don't have time to meet people. I'm so busy taking care of folks. I don't have time to, go to the bathroom and have lunch sometimes, So we connected. I learned about what you guys have going on. And I said, that's it. You guys have Excalibur. You have some of the chemical blends and formulas that I've been looking for over a decade to help me get sick people well. So yeah, that's kind of me in a nutshell. If you just ask me to talk, sometimes I don't shut up, and I apologize.
No, absolutely. This was amazing. Thank you so much. It's exactly what I wanted people to hear. And here's why. Okay. So I always have a reason for asking the questions that I ask, and the way I ask them. And it's because I want people to see and understand and know who you are. Because sometimes there are people, when you ask a question, they'll just answer a question and then dead silence. And it's kind of like you got to pull information out of them. You got to figure out, where's your core? Like, what are your convictions? But out of what I just got from you, not only can I tell what type of person you are, not only can I tell the type of things that you're interested in and where your passion lies, but it tells me what kind of a man that you are. And the kind of man is the one that was looking for answers to help his wife. You were looking for answers to figure out how to help you. And then with all of those things, you knew, okay, there's got to be more. Let me figure out this part. Okay, there's got to be more and more and more. So you're not someone who just gives up and is just somebody who just goes by what the book says. You wrote a new chapter to that book. And so that shows people like we're aligning ourselves with the right people at the right time for such a time as this. Mm-hmm. And I really appreciate that about you. So thank you so much for taking the lead and taking that time to just go ahead and express your heart. So I am so excited to have you on here with us and partnering with us to help us grow this mission. That's what we believe that it is here with Amplify, is that we want to help amplify people's lives, with happiness and your gut health. It's so, so important. Remember when I was in St. Louis, Robert and we came to meet you one time, and you were talking about what you just mentioned a little bit ago about the vagus nerve and the brain-gut connection. Now, a lot of people on here are brand new to learning about gut health, okay? And in that, there are some key things that people really need to understand about why your gut is so important. It's like the center part of your body, right? So what can you tell us to help these people who are brand new about hearing, about the Biome-X, about the Happy Tides, and these different things. And why is it so important that we're focusing on the gut?
Well, that's a great question. And let me make it real simple. So, and a lot of you can appreciate this, especially women are just more in tune to this than guys are. You ever get that gut intuition, that gut feeling about something? Well, that's actually a response to a part of your nervous system called your enteropathic nervous system. That's your brain gut connection. And the problem is, because of our standard American diet, the SAD diet, which is sad, our standard American diet, we tear up our gut. And when we tear up our gut, our immune system crashes. Not only does our immune system crash, but we don't make the neurotransmitters, because some 90%, 85 to 90% of neurotransmitters are made in your gut, and then they're transported, stimulate through this vagus nerve up to the base of your skull into your brain. And they stimulate a part of your brain, the frontal lobe, that allows you to have focus and clarity. And it's the governing part of your brain. And it also allows you to have happiness. I mean, those happy chemicals come from the gut. And so if the gut isn't balanced, the body can't be balanced. And I'll tell you right now, especially in the world that we live in, there's more anxiety, depression, insomnia, chronic pain, inflammation than there ever has been. That's because we live in a very sick, toxic world where our guts are a mess. And, people think, well, is this just about heartburn and reflux and ileocecal valve problems and leaky gut? No. Can we help with those things? Absolutely. But it's about getting you healthier. You see, one of the things that I found is we've been blessed to be able to ask people this question, and we're talking millions of people that we get to ask this question to all the time. What are your top goals in life? What are your top goals? Well, until this year, health was only a top goal in about 10% of the population. Now, because of the year that we're in 2020, health is the top goal, top 1 or 2 goals in 80% of the population. And you cannot have a good immune system if you don't have a good gut. You cannot have energy if you don't have a good gut. You cannot get rid of your pain if you don't have a good gut. You cannot have happiness and brain balance if you don't have a good gut. So the gut is the key. Like Hippocrates, the father of medicine, even said, take care of the gut, let thy food be thy medicine, and thy medicine be thy food, and all these other things will follow suit. So if you're going to a doctor because you have symptoms, and that's the number one reason why people go to the doctor, whatever that symptom may be, and they're not dealing with the gut, measuring it and treating it with the right nutrients, like butyric acid and nucleotides and all the stuff that we're going to be talking about today, there's no way you can get healthy. It is physiologically impossible to get healthy if you do not have a healthy gut. So I don't know if that makes sense or not, but that's really the key. And you have to understand, my background, people come to see me, a lot of times I'm the last stop before the bus stop. They've tried everything, and now they come to me because, well, I heard that you can potentially do something. So people come from literally all over the country, really all over the world. I mean, until 2020, but all over the country to see us, because we know that if we can fix the gut, we can get all chemistry to balance out, which I'm just going to tell you as a physician has helped me help people with things like acid reflux and heartburn and H. pylori and leaky gut syndrome, MS, autoimmune syndrome, chronic pain and inflammation. I was put in the state of Missouri, I was put on the governor's anti-opioid committee whenever we were going against the war on opioids back in 2018. And cleaning up the gut was the number one thing that we had to do to get sore, stiff joints and arthritic pain to go away. And it's amazing what can happen and how fast it can happen when you get that gut balanced out. You see, most people, because we're stressed out, we eat like crap. Those are the two big things, but stressed out, eat like crap. And we are taking so many antibiotics and other medications. Our body is so bogged down with chemical pressures that our gut is horrible. And if the gut is no good, just think about this. You could go to the chiropractor, get adjusted a million times. You can go do the physical therapy and exercise, and all those things are good. You can get joint injections, and you could do opioid pain pills and muscle relaxers. But if you don't fix the gut, the root cause of the problem, you'll never fix the cause. All you're doing in that case is like taking a piece of tape and sticking it over the check engine light of your car when it goes off. That makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. It does. That's awesome. So you just mentioned Hippocrates. Okay, so how long ago did he live? What?
It's been a minute.
2,000 years?
Yeah,
something like
no. BC.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
It's been a minute. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, for him to know all the way back then that everything starts with a gut. And that's a pretty tell sign that this is something we should definitely be focusing on. And more people are talking about this. I remember the other day I was at the grocery store and they had a new magazine about heal your gut. And I'm like, what in the world? Are you kidding me? Like, this is crazy. More and more people are waking up to the fact that, hey, you know, all of those chemicals and stuff that are on our food, that's probably not doing so well for us. The chemicals and toxins that are in the air and just all these different things, it's doing something to us. You know, preservatives, all these things. And so because of that fact, people are understanding that there's some sort of reason that we have more things such as depression, anxiety, autoimmune diseases, you know, and all this stuff has shown up in the last 30, 40 years, predominantly in the last 40, 30 years, but this stuff wasn't as rampant as it was before then. So in your opinion, what is it that we can do and what should everybody here be doing to help like all these people around that we know be able to help heal their gut?
Well, I mean, it's really simple. First of all, we have to take a common sense approach to health and a common sense approach to healthcare, because unfortunately, and I hate to say this, but healthcare right now, the way that we know it and the way that it's delivered in our country is not healthy, nor is it care. I mean, you guys all know it's all insurance driven. It's all, I mean, by the time you go see the doctor already has the prescription written for you. It's not working out. The third leading cause of death in America is death from medicine. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but that's just a fact. So if we continue to do what we've always done, we're going to keep getting what we've always gotten. So
absolutely,
what should we do? Here's what we should do. I mean, it's real simple. We got to get back to the basics. We got to start hydrating our body properly. We should start drinking half our body weight in clean, healthy water every day. That's for adults and kids. We should be eating 4 to 6 cups a day of dark green vegetables, because you got to get that butyrate, that butyric acid and all that stuff in your body so that your body can have the right minerals, nutrients, and the fiber it needs to heal itself. We got to stay away from processed foods. You know, the average American comes in contact between 1,000 and 1,200 chemicals a day in their diet and their environment. We got to get those toxins out of our body. Yeah, most people don't know that. So the reality is that there are certain nutrients you could do, because if you're not eating the right foods, most people don't, they need to start supplementing. So a supplement is not a replacement. It's not you can eat like crap all day and then take a replacement pill. That doesn't work. You have to take a supplement. And the supplements that are the best for the gut to heal leaky gut, to heal inflammation, to heal autoimmune, and to get all that, to get the brain gut connection right, and to stimulate the vagus nerve. Obviously, it's fiber. You got to get good fiber in your system. You have to have butyrate, butyric acid. You've got to have nucleotides, which help our body remake its DNA and repair itself. And that whole process of that gut being balanced then helps us repair all other tissues in our body. If you have, think about this, our whole entire body gets all of its nutrients from its small and large intestines. If you have bad bacteria overgrowth, if you have inflammation in the gut, that's going to lead to inflammation in your fingers, in your head, your neck, your brain. You're going to get foggy thinking, depression, anxiety. All this stuff can happen because of that. So we've got to get the gut balanced. And those are just a few things that we can start doing literally today that can make a huge difference in people's lives fast.
Absolutely. Thank you. So now I remember this time last year, I was waking up every single day with, thank you. That's so nice. You're the best. Hold on. I was waking up every single day with a fever, and I felt awful. Like I had been in a flare up for months and months and months, and it wasn't letting up. Like my body was not kicking it.
Right.
And so I have lupus, I have SLE lupus, and I have rheumatoid arthritis, and they said fibromyalgia. So I figure, they got to keep trying to add on something else.
Right.
But the thing that really got me to start looking for something other than what I was being prescribed over and over and over again was the fact that I noticed that I was declining very, very rapidly on all the things that I was on. And when I went in there to see this, these doctors initially, I just wanted to know why. Like, what is it? Why do I have what I have? Like, how do I fix it? Where does it come from? Like, give me something, because I want to figure it out. I want to go and research. I want to understand, you know, what is going on in my body. What is it saying to me, right? And not one of those doctors talked to me about leaky gut. Not one. It wasn't until the day I went in there and I was having such a hard time that the doctor said, he's like, well, your kidney count is really high. You know, it's about a 3 right now. He's like, so we're going to have to start considering dialysis.
Wow.
And I just sat there and I'm like, no, I don't want to. You know what? No, it was like something clicked in my head. And I was like, you know what? If you do this, you're guaranteed maybe 5 years. That's it. But the other thought was like, no, it's going to run my life. And, you know, I'm like, lupus doesn't have me. I have it. Okay. And so because of that, I wasn't going to claim that as my identity, and I wasn't going to let it steal that from me either. So I wanted to start figuring out something, you know, different. I'm like, you know what? My grandma has beat cancer twice with going and seeing these different holistic doctors and different things like that, because it got her to do something different, you know, some alternative medicine. So I started investigating stem cells, and then I dove really, really deep into it. I got, you know, 3 cc's initially, and then I went and got a full transplant, and that helped a lot. You know, I saw my whole system really improve until the end of last year. It did well for about 2 years, and then the end of last year, I started that flare-up. And at that time, I felt like I was almost giving up, because I'd been around so many different doctors, so many different professionals, and all kinds of different things. And they would try all these different things. You know, I've been on every kind of diet you can think of. I tried, you know, no this, but lots and lots of this, eating all organic, all these things. But there was something that just wasn't helping. And it got to the point where it was painful to eat anything. So I waking up having a fever, got to the point that if I ate anything, didn't matter what it was, my stomach hurt so bad I was in pain. Yeah. A friend of ours told us about this stuff called butyric acid. He's like, she needs that, you know, let's get her on it. And he's like, I can help her. Like, okay, well, we'll try it. You know, we'll see. And from there, that's how it started building, because after being on it for 2 days, my stomach didn't hurt anymore when I ate. And I was like, well, that's kind of weird. Maybe it's like placebo effect in my head. So, you know, we're going to try it again. I'll just give it a week. And in a week, I noticed the inflammation in my body was going down. I wasn't, you know, feeling like I was in that flare. And I didn't even notice that I hadn't had a fever. I'm like, okay, what is this? And what else can it work for? Like, is it just me? So we sent it to some other people and was watching and seeing how things were working in them. You know, we have girls on Prilosec, somebody else that had gout. There was, you know, quite a few different things. And they're like, what is this? I'm like, I don't know, but I'm going to learn about it now. I'm going to like dive in and figure this out. So I said all of that to say, because of this repair that it was going on, and obviously a very aggravated, you know, system of mine, because, you know, I probably live on sugar and whatever else. You know, whenever you talk about the butyric acid, what is it really that it's doing for us? So I heard you mention a minute ago about microbiome. So people that have never heard that word, they don't understand it yet. And they're not sure what the butyric acid really does, how it affects us, how it's distributed, and all of that good stuff. So how can you explain that to everybody here?
Yeah, that's a good question. So first of all, understand butyric acid, people can get that in their diet if they eat about 10 to 15 cups a day of dark green vegetables. So if you're not doing that, you should probably supplement it. And the thing is that butyric acid, I don't know how to say this other than it is, as far as I'm concerned, if not the most important, one of the most important chemicals that really enters the human body. What it does is it goes into the intestinal lining, and what it does is it causes lots of things. There's little receptors that goes through. It's important for your neutrophils in your body, which is your immune system, which is why when you started taking butyric acid, you didn't have a fever anymore, because your body's immune system was strong enough to fix all the bad stuff it was trying to fight, right? Had enough soldiers. Also, it's anti-inflammatory. So it actually helps with prostaglandin and certain other chemicals in the body that reduce inflammation. So people that are taking like Advil and Tylenol, which is horrible long-term for the body, this helps replace that. it also helps the body. When we talk about microbiome, let me just kind of give everybody a little kind of quick synopsis of the immune system. So your immune system, you have something that you're born with called the innate immune system. You get that from your, your mother and father. Then you get an adaptive immune system, which is what, like you develop as a kid when you're running around playing outside, you get exposed to sicknesses. And, like in my world, we play the 5-second rule. If it dropped on the ground 5 seconds, just pick it up, blow it off and eat it.
Yeah.
Those microbes you get, like that builds up that adaptive immune system. But then we have a microbiome. Yes. People forget that the biome, which is the viral part of our body's DNA has 45% of it is viruses, which we live with and coexist and help us be healthy. So some viruses are very good for our body. And then we have a microbiome. Now understand this, you have a microbiome on the inside of your body, your GI tract, but you also have it on your skin. It really, all your skin is your intestinal tract inside out on your body. I mean, I know that's kind of deep, but that's really what it is. So everything you put on your skin and you expose yourself to and everything you eat affects your microbiome. Just think about this. In your body, there are good bugs and there are bad bugs. Okay, just think about that. Good and bad. Well, we need a little bit of both. We need both of them, but we don't need
Kinda
more.
Gross.
Yeah, it is, but it's real. You have trillions of bugs in your body all the time. Sorry, all of you that are germaphobes, they just ain't no such thing as being a germaphobe. You just better get over that now. Because if you really knew what was on your body, let me just tell you this. Most of you guys are covered in poop right now. I'm just telling you, it's a fact, okay? E. coli is all over the place. That's the truth. So, but it's okay. We live with it. Well, it's the truth. But if we have an increase in bad bacteria, then our body doesn't absorb nutrients. You made a comment a minute ago about how you were eating good, healthy, clean foods, but you weren't absorbing them. Well, everything you ate made you feel sick because your microbiome was off. So butyric acid, one of the cool things it does, people hear about leaky gut syndrome and just think about like 2 cells sitting together. Well, these cells are supposed to be really, really tight, permeable, like a wetsuit. You know what a wetsuit is, right? If you go, surfing in California and it's cold, you have a wetsuit. So if I took a needle and I stuck it in a wetsuit, when I pull that needle out, that wetsuit closes back up. Well, that's what our intestinal lining is supposed to be like. Well, when you have leaky gut syndrome, what happens is that wetsuit stays apart. Those cells stay apart, and all the toxins that are in our intestines, instead of going out of our bowels, get leaked back into our body and enter the bloodstream. So that's what leaky gut is. Butyric acid goes in and it actually shores up. It causes those cells to swell, and when they swell closed. So that's how leaky gut gets cured. I mean, and so many. I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm surprised when I see a new patient that doesn't have some type of leaky gut, irritable bowel, digestive problem, absorbability issue. I'm surprised when I don't see it. Usually, I mean, this can happen is when you're a baby. I mean, it can actually, if you get anybody right now that has ever had to do multiple rounds of antibiotics in their life, which is everyone watching, is going to have some type of negative effect on their microbiome because of that. So taking a prebiotic and a probiotic is good, but if you don't have the nucleotides and the butyric acid right in the gut, it doesn't matter. That's why some people take probiotics and prebiotics and they get bloated. They feel gross. They feel sick. That's because your body doesn't know what to do with it, because it doesn't have the fertile ground there where it's supposed to be, because those cells are spread apart and those good and bad bugs are going back and forth between the gut. That's what leaky gut is. So it's a big deal to make sure that gut is right. I'm telling you, if you listen, here are the symptoms that people have of folks that are going to need butyric acid and nucleotides. Anybody that has any of these symptoms. So sore, stiff joints, headaches, migraines, anxiety, depression, insomnia, IBS, any type of heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach. Those of you that are taking like protein pump inhibitors, so like, those little pills, the little blue, not the blue pill, the purple pill, not the blue pill. Sorry, that's a different commercial. The purple pill, the one that you take for heartburn and indigestion, which, by the way, when you take those, it shuts off the protein pumps, which especially for men and women are horrible, but women's the worst because it stops your body from absorbing minerals. So it leads to muscle pain, osteoporosis, osteopenia. You don't want that. Guys, it shuts off our absorption of zinc. And women as well. So it screws up our hormones. We need testosterone, and testosterone production comes from zinc absorption. By the way, our immune system needs zinc for it to work, to make T cells, to fight off bad stuff. If you're taking a lot of these heartburn medications, you're not absorbing that stuff. So, I mean, Laura, as far as I'm concerned, it is the keystone. When I put a patient on a plan, I look at the hierarchy of health. So think about like a ladder, okay? So the bottom rung of the ladder is the nervous system. The nervous system has to be working first. Well, then we go, the second rung of the ladder is the enteropathic nervous system. That's the brain-gut connection. If that doesn't work, then I can't go and fix the hormones. I can't fix digestion. I can't fix metabolism. We can't get rid of pain. So many people go to their doctor and they've got symptoms that are on like, step 5, 6, or 7 on the ladder, but nobody ever even started looking at step 1 or 2. You can't go from step 1 and 2 all the way to 7 without climbing the ladder like it's supposed to. So it's important to understand what health really is and how to get healthy. And unfortunately, most doctors, well, we're not trained on that. I wasn't trained on that originally. I had to learn that. I had to develop that. I went to the school. So I may have all those degrees that I told you about from like official universities, but I'll tell you right now, I'm working on my 3rd PhD of life, because you can learn all this stuff and how to do it, but then you got to apply it.
Right.
I literally have been responsible for taking care of literally almost 500,000 people. I mean, that's insane if I think about it. Over 500,000 people have been under my care in the last almost 20 years. That's a pretty big impact now that I think about it. And I just begun to fight. So anyway, I hope that's helpful for that answer.
It is, absolutely. So Babette, she was talking about the other day, she was talking on here, and we both love Babette. It's like everybody on here, if you haven't got to meet her yet, you're going to love her. She's absolutely amazing. She does Gut Talk Tuesday, and she was talking about the numbers of people that have leaky gut right now.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of people, like you said, don't know if they have leaky gut, but the logical conclusion is that you do. If you've ever eaten fast food, if you've ever eaten, any of these things, then I'm sure you have it.
If you live in America and you have a standard diet, you have leaky gut. I don't know what to tell you. It's just the reality.
Exactly. Yes. Okay. Sorry. So how do you get in the conversation of talking to somebody and telling them you have a leaky gut? What would be a good way for someone to be able to say in a nice, reserved way, hey, this is something that you need. I have something that can help you. Well, what do I need help with? How do I know that I need this? Because if you have this, and this, what is a good conversation starter to tell people?
Well, it's real simple. Let's have a real conversation, okay? Any of us over the age of 35, for sure 40, but any of us over the age of 35, when you get together with your friends, you don't talk about going and having all this great energy and doing the stuff you did when you were in your 20s. You talk about my knee hurts, my back hurts, I'm on this medication, that medication. That's the conversation. So the conversation's already open. And by the way, if we're talking about holiday season, when you're around your family, what does everybody talk about? Their health issues, their ailments, their concerns, all this stuff. So it's real simple. This is how I bring up the conversation and how I tell folks to say it. Let me ask you a question. After you just told me you've got blah going on, whatever symptom it may be, then my response is going to be, okay, let me ask you this. And honestly, if there was a simple, convenient, and affordable way for you to get your problems fixed, would you want to find out about it? I mean, I can't say it any simpler than that. Absolutely. If there was a simple, convenient, and affordable way for you to get your problems fixed, would you like to find out about it? And nobody, I mean, I literally have asked, Laura, hundreds of thousands of people this question all over the world. No one's ever told me no. Now, you better be able to back that up with some, talking points or some data or a video that you can send to somebody, or something that you can do to go, okay, I got you interested. Now let's talk. Because there's not one person on this planet that does not want to be healthier. Because I'm going to tell you right now, your health is your most important asset. And I know, because I've talked to people that are from all over the world. They say, Doc, I would travel any distance. I would pay any price. I would do anything to get my health back. Yeah. So then let's do something. I always say this. Knowledge is power. It's nice to learn something. Like tonight, we dropped some knowledge nuggets on people. Butyric acid. We talked about nucleotides. We talked about, leaky gut. It's not difficult to fix. It's not difficult at all. But there's a difference between knowledge and wisdom. Wisdom is taking that information and applying it to your life, applying it to your day-to-day conversations. And I'll tell you right now, because I'm just telling you, this is the way I talk to people, in my practices, and if I see people on the street that are having problems. If there was an affordable, convenient, and a simple way for you to fix your problem, would you want to find out about it? They always say yes, emphatically yes. Then I say, well, here's the next step you need to do, and you better be ready for that next step. Because if I had the winning numbers to the lottery, like if I called you and I said, Laura, guess what? I got the winning numbers to Saturday's lotto, whenever they do the lotto. If I told you that and I didn't tell you what the numbers were, you would probably not be friends with me anymore. You know what I mean? And so when it comes to health issues, what we're talking about with gut health is like the winning lotto numbers. So why would you not share that with somebody? Like, this is literally a way to change the way that healthcare is delivered in our country. I mean, I'm all about empowering people so they can become their own doctor, because unfortunately, you have the same experience that most people on here have. Their doctor just doesn't know because they're not educated on the, real true healing of people. They're educated on, here's a drug, here's that. And I know, because I was classically trained that way, and I did not like that. And it didn't serve my patients well.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so my last question. All right, so I don't even remember if we said this. You're from St. Louis. I'm so sorry. I can't remember if we did or not. But if you're from St. Louis, you have an amazing wife. I got to meet her. She's awesome. Yeah. Super fun. Yeah. And you have kids. I didn't get to meet all of your kids, but I think I got to meet 2 of them. Tell us a little bit about your family. Tell us a little bit about, after you talk about your family, I want to know what you see where this is going. Like, what is your vision and where are we headed from here?
Well, first of all, I'm my wife and I, like I said, we've been together since we were in the 7th grade. We're both from a very small town, and she's my best friend, love of my life. And just, I mean, she literally, you know what they say, behind every great man, there's an even greater woman rolling her eyes. That's so true. So true, right? She knew me when I was a dirt flow po little country boy. And so we have 3 beautiful kids. I've got a 15-year-old son who's one of the top baseball players in the country. He's literally the #1 outfielder in the state of Missouri. He's top 10 in the country. He's amazing, 15-year-old kid. I have a just beautiful 12-year-old daughter who is just the sweetest little girl on the planet. I mean, she is just a lover, just a heart person. And then my baby is 7, and she is well, here's what she is. She's me, but 7. This little girl is going to take over the world. She's the best negotiator I've ever met in the history of and she's got me wrapped around her little finger, and she just knows it. And that's fine, and I'm cool with that. I got no problem with it. I told my wife, I said, I'm going to ruin this girl so no man can afford her. I don't care. So that's my family, and I'm really blessed to spend time with them, and they keep me super humble, and it's a blessing. And then here's the thing, like the vision. Here's the vision. The vision is we need more people less sick. 2020 has been nothing. It's been a year of certainty. 2020 vision, clarity, purpose, certainty, understanding, like you said, for a time such as this. It is time for us to rise up, to take our health back, because when you have health, you actually have wealth. One of my good friends wrote a book. One of my great friends wrote a book. As a New York Times best-selling book, and it talked all about how staying healthy can make you rich. And it wasn't about being loaded, but it was about everything that you do. Like most people, they spend 60, 65 years of their life working all day nonstop. And then what do? They spend the last 3 years of their retirement, they spend all their money trying to get their health back. But that's not right. That's not okay. Our 50% of all bankruptcies that happen in the United States are because of health related bankruptcies. There are answers to that. There are solutions, but nobody's talking about that. I'm telling you right now, when your gut's right, your immune system's right. When your immune system's right, you have faith and you have facts, and that gets rid of a lot of fear. And there's a lot of fear in 2020, but not for folks that have the knowledge and the wisdom of what health really is. So the vision is to change the world. And the crazy thing is that the people like you and I and all the other folks that are watching right now that are crazy enough to think we can do it are the ones that are going to. So, and those of you that don't think we can, sit down, have some popcorn, and watch what we're going to do. Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Dr. Eric Nepute, for being on here, for partnering with us, and having the same mission mindset that we do. We definitely think that this is a ministry that we have to take to so many people. You have missionaries all over the world that are talking about good news, right? This is another form of good news. Good news is that there is hope for your health. And, it's our responsibility to share it with people. So I'm so excited. So thank you very much for jumping on here. I hope you guys got as much value out of this as I did. I love getting to meet somebody and get to the core root of who they really are. And I think Dr. Eric Nepute definitely showed us who he is. And I'm so thankful for that. I'm excited to see what else we're going to be able to do on here. We did record this, so you'll be able to catch this replay. We'll make sure that we post it on Facebook. So again, thank you guys all so much for your time, and we appreciate it, and we will see you soon. Have a good night.